On today's special 7-Eleven episode of Into Your Head, the argument for urine in fast food, flowers and drugs versus stabbing people, remembering James Joyce's Ulysses and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, understanding keys, the problem with ball games, artificial panic mechanisms, and lots more crap. Absolutely fucking fantastic. Hello.
Into your head.
Join me at a tremendously exciting moment. It's Into Your Head, number 711. It was finally up to we're finally up to the 711 number. It's so very hilarious. We're all thinking of convenience stores, aren't we? Well, I'm not fucking thinking of convenience stores, because 7-Eleven pulled out of Ireland when I was approximately 14 years of age, and it was a major disappointment, because their only branch that I've ever been in was a few minutes walk from my school, and then they decided to shut their doors. Once they shut their doors, nobody could get in, and their takings went down and down and down. I think it was deliberate sabotage. They shut their doors deliberately to sabotage their business so they'd have an excuse for shutting down. That's what these businesses do. You hear the same with all of these places online. They say, hello, this is Google, this is the Google something. What's the code? A Google, what's that? A Google Reader. They shut that down recently. They said, this is Google Reader. It's been here years and it's still not able to read. So that's an embarrassment. So we're going to have to close it down. We're going to have to shut it down. Just like your man Gordon Ramsay says on that thing. He says, shut it down. And then they shut it down because they say, oh, he's the boss here. He's not the real boss. It's a television game show. It's not a real setup. As far as we're concerned, within the rules of this competition, he's the boss, and if he says shut it down, then we have to shut it down. It's not really open at all. It's just a fake TV set restaurant with invited guests, and the invited guests come in and say, what do we do here? Do you want us to taste this food? Is that what it is? And the producers say, oh yes, we want you to taste this food. You want you to shove some into your mouth and say something interesting about it for the cameras, and then write down your score on a scale of 1 to 10, what you think of this food. 1 for I think it's good, 2 for I think it's very good, 3 for I think it's better than very good. Now we've got up to 4, and I don't know what to call the next one, so I've probably started too high. It's a bit like the musical scales. You have to go down an octave. So number 1 should have been it's crap, and number 2 should have been it's slightly less crap, and number 3 it's slightly less crap, and then 5 is in the middle, and then you get up to 10 for excellent. That's better. That's a better scale. I never understood music myself, but apparently musical scales are all about where you begin. And if you begin too high, then you go up too high. Something about keys or something. Keys are the key to it. That's the problem in itself. The key to music is understanding keys. And if you don't understand the key, then you're never going to get into it. You're never going to understand it at all. It's like an enigma wrapped in a mystery, wrapped in one of those plastic eggs that they give away with children's meals and fast food outlets. They say, here's an egg. It's a plastic egg. It's a breakfast burger. It's basically a flat egg. It's got a sausage around it or something, and they put it on a bit of bread, and they say, this isn't the food. This isn't the food. Chillax, don't eat this. This is the free toy that comes with it. That's the only reason you're able to get it after 10 a.m. If this was a real egg, you wouldn't be able to get it after 10 a.m. because we don't serve breakfasts. Just like that movie. You ever seen that movie with what's his face in it? The movie with Michael what's his face? He said, Michael Douglas falling down. He goes into a fast food restaurant, and he says, hello, I'd like some breakfast, please. And they say, no, some smart ass refuses him breakfast. And he basically takes out a gun, and he uses the gun to acquire breakfast. I used to live around around the corner from one of those McDonald's. My first ever bachelor pad. I was 1 minute's walk from a McDonald's, and that's why I am the way I am today. You were able to walk out. Oh, I'd walk out and I get 2 big breakfasts and bring them back to the bachelor pad, and I'd make some coffee. Coffee came free with it. I think they used to make more coffee. I don't know. I don't think those are back in the days when they hadn't figured out how to make coffee in burger places. The place was just too full up with burger making equipment. There was no way of fitting in a decent coffee maker, so they used to just get out the kettle and they get out some instant coffee and they'd put that there, and then they'd hide some contraption behind us that made the actual coffee that they gave you. And the actual coffee they gave you was basically urine. It wasn't real urine, just like the eggs and the sausages that they did. They weren't real eggs and sausages, so the coffee wasn't real urine. So there is some advantage to this fakeness in the fast food. If they were doing real everything in those days, you'd have been drinking real urine as a beverage, and I'll tell you that's not the way. I know some of the health freaks will tell you that drinking urine is good for you. Well, health freaks would not be going into that place in the first place. So let's have a bit of realism there now. Anyway, 7-Eleven, show 7, another 200 now, and it'll be show 9-11. What the fucking hell am I going to do then? Am I going to go, oh, look at show 9-11? Let's mark one of the most terrible incidents in the history of the recent Western world by having a number on our program. We will not. We'll be respectful. We'll just say we'll probably not even mention the number at all. And then, of course, you'll get a letter from some fella saying, that's very disrespectful. You did show 9-11 and you didn't even mention the number at all. You just went on about cats. You didn't mention the tragic deaths of thousands of people, pointless deaths of tragic thousands of people in a building and in planes over that terrible day, and you just went on about cats and banjos, and you said 2 cats walk into a bar. What the fucking hell has that got to do with 9/11? You'll say, and then you'll sign it off. I'm never listening to this crap again. I'm going to wait till there's a new episode and then I'll listen to that. I don't like to listen to the same stuff over and over, and that's understandable. You don't need to listen to the same episodes of this over and over. There's over 700 episodes now. You can go on the extras and reruns site at intoyourhead.com/extras and get lots of reruns from the early days, although admittedly they're all a pile of crap. They're a pile of crippity crap, but that's if you want to be. If you want quantity rather than quality, then that's where you go. Otherwise you go round to McDonald's and you say, hello, can I have a pint of your finest coffee please? And you can be, it's okay, they figured out how to make coffee now. It's not as good as my coffee that I make at home, but it's damn right sight better than fake piss, I can tell you. Which would you prefer, a fake piss or real piss? Here's a question for you. I think you'd probably say fake piss, in which case, don't get all fucking pissed off when these places come up and tell you, oh, this is an egg. You say, that's not a real egg. If you want a real egg, you get a thing, a real egg is a thing that's had sperm put inside it, and it's been floating around inside a chicken's arse. That's what a real egg is. How do you want a real egg or a fake one? No, I want a fake one, I can tell you. It's the same with the cheese. You get the people complain about fake processed cheese that comes in tubes, which I don't think you can even get here. You Americans are great for your cheese that comes in tubes. I think it's called cheese whiz. Basically means you whiz up some cheese instead of going to the trouble of going and getting a block of it that's going to go moldy 3 days after you buy it. You get it in a tube and you use it. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's proper cheese. It hasn't come out of a cow's arse and not being pasteurized or anything. No. It's a fine line, I can tell you, between realism and crap, because crap is real too. Crap is a real thing, you know. So crap is very real, and if you want to avoid crap, you have to avoid real things. Well, there's probably other ways to avoid it too, but one surefire way to avoid crap is to avoid anything that's real. Although I know they have fake crap now, but that's if you go into a joke shop. You get fake plastic crap, but you use that for a purpose if you're playing a joke on someone or something. That's an entirely different different thing, an entirely different kettle of fish, an entirely different ball game, just as soccer and football, American football and soccer and Gaelic football are three entirely different kettles of fish. Ball games, I suppose you call them ball games. They call it a ball game just because there's a ball involved. A snooker, on that basis, snooker is a ball game, and billiards, and anything else that has a ball in it. That thing where you have a little steel ball, like you fire it around in an arcade, and it goes firing around and up and down and over. How you know that thing in the arcade games? Those would be called ball games if you went by that thing. I suppose in a way they are. So I suppose you have a point there. If we call everything that, if we call everything in the world a ball game, then there's no point in having the title at all. You just call everything stuff. Like I say, this bear is a ball game because it has balls in it and you can play with it. Well, then everything's just a ball game. That's no use. That's no way to use language. Words are used to distinguish things from other things. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the fucking point? I don't know. Anyway, two cats walk into an unnamed fast food restaurant. One of the cats goes straight up to the unnamed fast food restaurant counter and says, "Hello, can I ask first what's the name of this place?" And the man behind the counter says, "The name of what place?" And the cat says, "This place that we're in now." And the man behind the counter says, "I don't know where you're referring to. Can you tell me where? You'll have to be more specific." And the cat says, "This place here, this place." And the man behind the counter says, "Could you please not poke a hole in the counter with your sharp paws?" And the cat says, "My paws aren't sharp, it's just the claws on them that are sharp, and I haven't sharpened them today. You be glad of that." And the man behind the counter says, "Is that a threat?" And the cat says, "I don't know. How would I know? I'm not a doctor. How would I know whether me poking my sharp claws into you is a threat? I don't know. You'd have to ask some detective or some investigator who investigates medical things. You ask him what would be the result of a 2-inch claw being stabbed into a human forehead. What would be the effect? Is it a threat to the human's life and safety? As I can't say." And the man behind the counter says, "I've just pressed my panic button." And the cat says, "Oh, well done. Most creatures have their own built-in panic system. You humans have to have a button connected to somewhere. Christ, do you have another button that makes you for smiling as well?" And the man behind the counter says, "Yes, I do, but I don't think I'll be using that this morning." And the cat says, "Damn right you won't. I think I'll walk out and come back in as another cat and we'll start this again better." And he disappears off. And then a couple of minutes later, a cat walks into the fast food restaurant and says, "Hello, can I have a pint of your finest Pepsi, please? And make damn sure to Christ as hell it's Coke Pepsi and not Pepsi." And the shopkeeper, or whatever we're calling him, I don't know, the fast food attendant, surely to Christ there must be a one-word name for these. I can't keep saying man behind the counter or fast food attendant. Anyway, wherever he is, he says, "So you want a Coke, is it?" And the cat says, "No, I want a Pepsi, but I want it to be a Coca-Cola Pepsi, not a Pepsi-Cola company Pepsi." And the man behind the counter says, "I think I can help you with that in a way by being a smart arse," which helps me a lot of the time, I find. The Pepsi-Cola company doesn't have a presence here in Ireland. Pepsi is licensed out to Cantrell and Cochrane or somewhere like that, the same people who make the Club Orange. So I could give you one of their Pepsis, which wouldn't be a Pepsi-Cola company Pepsi. And the cat says, "That's a load of bollocks. Your shop here is a franchise, but that doesn't mean it's not whatever this place is." "What is this place, by the way? You don't seem to have a name on it." And the man behind the counter says, "This is a no-name fast food establishment. We save money by not buying into some franchise." And the cat says, "That's fucking ridiculous. The whole point of being part of a franchise is that you get the benefit of their worldwide marketing budget and all of their their good name. And the man behind the counter says, I think no name is a good name. And the cat says, it is indeed, but I believe there's already a well-known retail chain called No Name. And the man behind the counter says, I know, but this establishment isn't called No Name. It just has no name. And the cat says, that sounds rather impractical, if you don't mind me saying so. And the fast food attendant says, I don't mind you saying it at all. I don't own this place. I'm a minimum wage clerk, or whatever you call me. What am I? Counter assistant. I'm a hamburger processor. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Maybe someone has to do the crap jobs, and I'm hoping not to be doing this much longer because I have a bit of ambition. And the cat says, well, good for you. I have ambition too. I have an ambition to get a Coca-Cola Pepsi, however I said I wanted. I forget now, wherever it is. Have you figured out how to do that yet? And the counter assistant says, no, I can't be arsed now, to be perfectly honest. I've lost interest in trying to smart arse my way through this. There's just, the entertainment value isn't worth the minimum wage I'm on here, so I'm just going to do you up a cup of black stuff and tell you it's whatever you asked for. And the cat says, I think I'd do the same too if I were you. And counter assistant says, if you were me, you wouldn't be working here. They don't employ cats. And the cat says, now why would that be? And the man behind the counter says, I think it's to do with hygiene regulations. You can't have animals in a public kitchen. And the cat says, or maybe has it occurred to you that it's because a cat wouldn't apply for a job in here? And the man behind the counter says, well, of course you wouldn't. You're a cat. Why would you apply for a job in here? And the cat says, I wouldn't. That's the point. And the counter assistant says, where are we going with this? And the cat says, we're building up a queue behind me. So maybe you should give me my order. And the man behind says, here you go. And the cat says, thank you. And the counter assistant says, that'll be €1.75, please. Would you like a straw? And the cat says, no, I wouldn't like a straw. I'll take one though. I'm not going to particularly like it. When someone hands you cutlery, you say, oh, I like this cutlery. You do not unless it's gold-plated cutlery. In which case, why would you want to use gold-plated cutlery? It's being shoved into someone's mouth. Cutlery is disgusting. Anytime you get a bit of cutlery, the first thing you should think is, this has been in several people's mouths. Usually it's been in, if you get in a restaurant, that cutlery is being in 3 or 4 people's mouths already that day. Maybe it's being washed off with some poisonous liquid in a dishwasher machine, but that shouldn't reassure you much. That stuff's full of chemicals, so it's had every minute of every day it's either covered in someone else's saliva or some chemical that's being made that's so strong and poisonous it can kill off saliva, and you want to put that in your mouth. No, don't like cutlery. Yes, I'll have a straw, please, though. Thank you very much. And the man says, you're welcome. And the cat says, is it a time for a brief commercial interlude yet? And the man behind the counter says, oh, I don't know. I'm not in the marketing department. Do I look like I'm in the marketing department? The cat says, well, frankly, yes, you do. You've got a big red hat on you, bitterly with no name on it, because you're in a no-name establishment, but it's got a logo, and you've got a t-shirt that says, customer service, I'm here to help you. So yes, you do look like you're in marketing. And the man behind the counter says, oh, you're very clever, aren't you? And the cat says, I like to think so. I enjoy thinking so. And I think I would still enjoy thinking so even if I wasn't clever, which would make me stupid by definition. Although would it? There's more to life than being clever, being happy, for example. And the man behind the counter says, you're very wise. And the cat says, I like to think so, etc., etc.
Are you going into your head?
Support the Podcastual Arts at no cost to you. Just click through the Amazon link at intoyourhead.com whenever you go shopping for anything, even if you use Amazon UK or Canada. We'll take your weird foreign money here. We're not proud. Just visit intoyourhead.com. and click on the appropriate Amazon banner.
Remember, we value the opinions of you, the humble and ignorant listener. Email Neal at studio@intoyourhead.com.
Monkey nuts.
You are listening to Into Your Head, a listener-supported podcast. Please visit intoyourhead.com/tipjar.
Steaming piles of monkey nuts into your head.
Now, I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking today's episode is very fast food, urine, 7-Eleven, artificial panic mechanisms, cats talking about ball games, fast food, unnamed restaurants, understanding keys centric. Well, you'd be largely right about that so far. We're only 20 minutes in. Give it a chance. As Paul McCartney used to say, or was it John Lennon, or was one of them? They'd say, give peace a chance. They say, give peace a chance. It was John Lennon, wasn't he? He had that thing where he sat in bed with his wife doing the protest. He said, we're going to protest. We're going to have a big protest against war. We're going to sit here, sit in bed and point guns. We'll have guns under the bed and we won't point them at anything. As a protest, we'll hide all our guns and we'll just have flowers and drugs. Flowers and drugs were the answers to everything in those days. It was called hippieism. It'd say, let's have more flowers, more drugs, less guns, less bombs, less guns, less punching people in the face, less stabbing people in the face with knives or stabbing any other part of their anatomy with knives. You can stab people with parts of your anatomy. That's considered peaceful as long as it's consensual, but you can't stab them with anything sharp unless it's consensual, in which case you better be damn sure to hell is Christ that you're both on the same page. And I tell you, in the Book of War and Peace, the chances of you being on the same page are mathematically quite small because there's thousands of pages in it, or so I hear. You hear about this. I've never looked at the book War and Peace myself, but you hear about it on sitcoms and in stand-up comedy talks. You hear people say, oh, War and Peace, looking at this thing that I'm talking about here is just like reading War and Peace. And if you were to delve further and ask them under threat of, if you brought them into court and say you have to tell the truth now, they'd probably say, oh, I've never seen War and Peace in my life, don't know what it's about, I think it's a book, haven't a clue how many pages are in it, no idea whether it's readable. They say the same thing about James Joyce's Ulysses. Now I happen to have possession of a copy of James Joyce's Ulysses, at least I used to anyway. Never read it in my life. I think my father read it, and that's enough for me. It's a generational thing. If my father read it, and I've inherited the genes of whatever education or benefit comes from reading Ulysses. I also named a bear after Ulysses, or my father did, rather. Yeah, we went on a road trip. I brought my bear with me, sat him on the dashboard for the day on a trip halfway across the country, and apparently there's a line in the book Ulysses that says he was tired, he had travelled, so it was decided therefore that Ulysses would thereby be called Ulysses the bear, or Ulysses for short, or that bear when you're in a bad mood. You say, that bear, that frigging bear. I also have another bear called Bowsy, after whom I've named a cat, but that's not relevant. Well, it is irrelevant because my father named that bear too. He didn't name the cat, but he indirectly named my cat Bowsy by my naming of Bowsy the cat after Bowsy the bear, which he named, but this is not relevant to the whole Ulysses thing. There was also a cartoon on the television, if I remember rightly, called Ulysses 31 or something along those lines. Wasn't really my sort of thing. I was only into funny cartoons. I wasn't into cartoons where people go around having battles or going into space or coming back from space, or whatever else they do in these things, do things with turtles. My day, people used to, it was all about the turtles in those days. You had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a hot shell, turtle power, they're the world's most greatest fighting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. and their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Never saw the thing in my life. No interest in it at all. But I did hear the closing music every day while I was waiting for whatever was on afterwards to start. And that's how I became familiar with the theme song. They used a different name for it over here. It was considered controversial to call them ninja, so they were called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles on my television set. They said they're not ninjas, they're heroes. And we'd say, how come they're heroes over here but they're ninjas everywhere else? And I still don't know the answer. I should probably look up what a ninja is, and that might help in some way. Let's see. Ninja, Ninja. I know there's a word called ninny, but I don't think that's the same thing. If you call someone a ninny, it's a very old-fashioned insult. Let's see. A ninja was a shimoba. Oh, ninja disambiguation. That's what we need. A ninja, a militia in the Republic of the Congo. An integrated development environment for Python applications. A 2009 film by Isaac Florentine. An album by Christina Aguilera. Well, that's Christ. Ninja loan for no income, no job or asset. What else have we got? Roller coasters. There's 3 roller coasters called Ninja. There's a novel called The Ninja. I thought there was something else. Is there not some sort of a fighter called a ninja? Apparently, no. Oh, here we go. Ninja in popular culture. That's probably it. It's considered a whole different separate thing if it's a ninja in you have a whole list of ninja, and then down the bottom they have ninja in popular culture, because popular culture is considered a whole different kettle of fish. Considered, this is just like slang, it's not real. Popular culture isn't real. Once you become popular, it's just considered a load of bollocks. That thing is popular, and therefore it can't be of any real value to the world. That's why it's a good thing to not become popular. The ninja is a commonly used stock character in both Japanese and international popular culture. Blah 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 blah. Stuff and things. There we go. There's a load of stuff there. Just look up on the internet if you're interested in learning further. And there's a picture of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles there at the Nickelodeon Suites Resort in Orlando, Florida. Christ, what frigging next? What, they're trying to turn television into real life stuff now. They're saying, this is on the television and therefore we have to make a theme park out of it. And the theme of the park will be television, but there won't be a television in sight. We'll remove the frame of television from it, and we'll put all this stuff that's on the television. It's the same stuff that's on the television, it just doesn't have a frame around it, and there isn't a screen in front of it. Except in the part where they have real turtles on display. They're probably behind a screen or a cage or something. But apart from that, no. I don't believe in moving television into real life. Television is where you go to escape from real life. Don't go giving me stuff. I don't want to go into my local supermarket and see stuff that's off the television, and then I have to associate it with shopping. Be standing there in the dregs of the checkout line, waiting to be served by a customer service person, and I'll see a picture of what you call it, Breaking Bad, something which I associate with relaxing. I like to wind down by relaxing and watching Breaking Bad, watching a fella getting closer and closer to his own destruction. That's relaxing because it's somebody else and he's not real. But if he's in the supermarket, then that's real. Even if it's just a picture. It's like taking something out of the 2D world and making it 3D. It's the same when they make 3D versions of your favourite cartoons, and they make them 3D, or they make them, you know what I mean. Either you do or you don't at this stage. It's taking long enough to explain it. You either get it or you don't. And if you don't get it, then it doesn't affect you and it doesn't bother you, so you don't need to understand us. So we're all fine. We're all friends here. Let's chillax and take a chill. Don't have any left. Christ. Don't have any chill pills left. You might have heard an episode. Never mind. You leave that in the back. Anyway, on with the show. This is the closing segment of episode 711 of Into Your Head podcast. Hello. Show 711 of Into Your Head podcast. Hello is now coming to a close. Don't worry if you haven't heard it yet. It's still here. It's being pre-recorded. It's just it's not shutting down. It's not shutting down like the aforementioned businesses that I referred to, 7-Eleven for example. It's not shutting down like they did. No, it's just in my reality here, which is the same reality that you're in. It's just in a different let's not go down, let's not get bogged down in explaining the timeline again, because the timeline we're probably going to find in a couple of 100 years time, the time doesn't exist at all. So this will all be a load of bollocks anyway. Hopefully we'll still have some mechanism for understanding time even after we find out that it doesn't exist. It'll just be, I can tell you, there'll be a whole different ball game then, I can tell you. And if we're still calling everything a ball game by then we're fucked. We're rightly fucked up the creek paddle without her bow. Is that what they say? Anyway, good morning.